Shabbat Shalom. Greetings to the 12 tribes of Israel scattered to the four corners of the earth, scattered via captivity, scattered over the last 2,000 plus years. Greetings to you. Greetings, blessings to those who are not of the 12 tribes, but seek the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the only true God. Greetings. Greetings to those who are unreligious, but know something is wrong, can feel something is wrong on the earth, and want change. Greetings. Shabbat Shalom. We are going to be studying, continuing, or wrapping up our study in Daniel chapter 9, the 2300 days, the 2300 days / years. We're going to be looking at that this evening just to finish that up because it's very important as we're getting ready to go into the last three chapters of Daniel, Daniel 10, 11, and 12, that we have in our sight and in our understanding the 2300 years because it goes all the way to today. Now, we talked about the 2300 years. We talked about how it started in 457 BC and how the first 490 years of that time period given in Daniel chapter 9 was specifically to the Israelite nation as a final warning before, you see, before the curses of Deuteronomy 29 were going to take full effect. You see, brethren, many of our brothers in that time, and the prophets and Daniel even, thought and believed that the Babylonian captivity was Deuteronomy 28. They thought and believed that the Assyrian captivity was Deuteronomy 28 and Leviticus 26. They thought and believed that the scatterings that happened under the Babylonians, Medes and the Persians, and the Greeks was Deuteronomy 28. And you know what? They're partially correct. But what Daniel was shown and what we looked at in Daniel chapter 8, what Daniel was shown and what we looked at in Daniel chapter 8, where Daniel was shown that there was going to come a power from the north. And this power from the north, from the children of Japhet, was going to cast the Israelite people and their truth to the ground and prosper. It was going to stamp all over us and prosper. And Daniel was so concerned when he saw that. He was so worried because he knew that his people were in at that moment in captivity in Babylon. And he also could not reconcile what he was seeing with what was told him through the prophet Jeremiah, that there will be a 70-year captivity. No, this one was 2,300 years, 2 millennium and 3 centuries. And it made Daniel sick. And the angel told him after that time, the sanctuary was going to be cleansed. The earthly sanctuary would be destroyed. The one that Moses was told to make, which was a pattern of the original in the third heaven, was going to be destroyed. And brethren, we are here. We're after the 2300 days. We talked about 457, the first 490 going to our people, the end of that 490 being the stoning of brother Stephen, where Messiah stood up. And at that time, we were going to go into the true, the real, the heavy Deuteronomy 28 experience. Leviticus 26 experience. Yes. As a matter of fact, there's no other people on the earth. There's no other people on the earth like us that have gone through such an experience to the point where our very names have been taken away. Where our very history has been wiped out. To the point where when we ask about our history, it starts with us in the bottom of a slave ship. That's where it starts. That's how thoroughly our history has been wiped out. But it was all prophesied. You see, brethren, and this is the point. The only true God, his name is Yahweh, or Yah for short. When he's talking about himself, it's Ahaya. This is all about his glory. And he makes things look impossible. So that when he brings it to pass, only he could have done it. And he tells us about it in detail, in great detail. Beforehand. He tells us beforehand what he's going to do. So that excuse me, when it comes to pass, he gets the glory. And in Deuteronomy 28, we know he spoke in great detail. And it was after this 490 years. It was after that that this really came into effect in its fullness. Daniel and them, when they was in Babylon, I mean, they got spanked, man. I mean, they got spanked. But at least they knew their name. At least they knew who they were and where they came from. Right? They knew who they were and where they came from. There was no searching for other nations for acceptance because they didn't know who they were. We know about that, don't we? You know, it's sad, brother. I want to tell you, I don't support Trump and I don't support Biden. You know why? Trump hates us and Biden hates us. That's why. At least Trump is too dumb to hide it. But I'd rather that, because at least we know what we're dealing with. Whereas the other one tried to act like he our friend, and they still want to kill us. And it's all good. You know why? Because of this word, brother. You know, as we're going to read in Daniel, Messiah told us, right? He said he had to go and prepare a place, right, for us. And he said when he was finished, he's going to come back and receive us unto himself. And the beautiful thing about Daniel, he shows it. He shows it. We're going to read that. But Deuteronomy 28. Tonight, I'm going to read most of this chapter. I got to. It's just that type of night. I'm sorry, but I'm going to read this thing. Because after AD 34, there was another 1,810 years. There's another 1,810 years left of the 2,300 years, right? And when you add 1,810 to 34, you end up at 1844. Okay? Excuse me. You end up at 1844. And the angel told Daniel that after 2,300 days, the sanctuary would be cleansed, right? He told him that. All right? Now, the cleansing of the sanctuary is described in Leviticus chapter 16. It is described there as the Day of Atonement, when the sanctuary that Moses made was going to be cleansed. What does it mean cleansed? Why does it need to be cleansed? Now, I want you all to read Leviticus 16 on your own when you get a chance. Go discover that for yourself. But why the sanctuary had to be cleansed is because every day, twice a day, there was a morning and evening sacrifice. Okay? Twice a day. A morning and evening sacrifice. Okay? At the beginning of the new day, at even, there was a sacrifice. And 12 hours later in that morning, which was the new day, there was a sacrifice. And 12 hours later, which is the evening, the next day was a sacrifice. And every day, an innocent animal of the first year, the firstborn male, had to be sacrificed. And every day, the children of Israel would look toward the sanctuary. And after King David, have mercy, they would look toward Jerusalem, because David took the ark out of Ephraim. See, before they were looking to Ephraim, but David took the ark out of Ephraim and put it to Jerusalem, where the tribe of Judah was. And every day the whole nation would look toward Jerusalem. See, they wasn't looking toward Mecca. There wasn't no Mecca. They was looking toward Jerusalem, because that's where the Ark of the Covenant was. That's where the glory of the Father was. And that's where the animal was sacrificed for the sins of the people. And they would pray and confess their sins daily. Daniel did it. The Bible said he would open his windows toward Jerusalem and pray. That's why he ended up in the lion's den. The Bible say that Gabriel came and touched him at the time of the evening sacrifice. See? That happened every day during the whole year while Israel was an independent nation. And the glory of the Father was still in the sanctuary. You see, now the glory of the Father is in the third heaven. Messiah is there. He is the firstborn son. And he is the sacrifice for the sins of Israel. And we are to pray toward the Father through him. But then at the end of every year, the high priest, one of the sons of Aaron, they would blow, the sons of Aaron would blow trumpets on the first day of the 7th month. They would blow trumpets. Some of my brothers, out of sincere ignorance, and I mean that seriously, I'm not trying to be funny, nor am I trying to diss. They call it the Feast of the Trumpets, but it wasn't a feast. It was a solemn time. The trumpets were a warning sound to be blown on the first day of the 7th month. The warning that was given was yet within 10 days, there will be a permanent cleanse of the sanctuary. Where they have been confessing their sins the whole year, those sins were actually spiritually stored up in that sanctuary. And on the 10th day, the high priest will go in there for the whole day, carrying the blood of an innocent animal. And he walk into that most holy place. It's called the most holy. He would only go there once a year. The Father's glory would meet him there in the spirit. If he walked in there and he hadn't confessed his sins and the sins of the nation, they had a rope attached to his foot. Because if he walked in there like that, he'd drop dead. And they'd have to pull him out. He walked in there, and at the bottom of his robe were bells to let them know he was moving from the holy place through the veil into the most holy. He'd bring with him the blood and incense. The blood representing the atonement for the sins of the nation of Israel. The incense representing the prayers of the people. And he'd walk in there, present them before the Father over the ark that contained the covenant between Yah and Israel. And once it was accepted of the Father, he would come out. They would hear the bells move at the end of the day. They would hear the bells move coming out of the most holy place. And they looked forward to that because when he was coming out, first he was alive. And then he was coming out representing, bringing out all the sins of the nation. He went back into the outer court and he confessed all of the sins of the nation. He put dumb sins on the head of a goat. It's called the scapegoat. And then that goat was led into the wilderness to die. And the nation's sins were cleansed. And 5 days later, there was a party, boy. Oh yeah, they get ready to throw down. They threw down. There was a party. And the Father said, this is the Father said, I'm not saying this, the Father said. He said, that's when they're supposed to bring tithes together. They're supposed to bring the tithes to Jerusalem. Okay. And he says, I'm going to start at Deuteronomy 14, verse 22. And thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed in the field that the field bringeth forth year by year. Thou shalt eat before Yahweh thy Most High in the place which he shall choose to place his name there. That's Jerusalem, where the most holy place is, and the Ark of the Covenant is, and his spirit dwells there. The tithe of thy corn, of thy wine, of thine oil, the first things of thy herds, of thy flocks, thou mayest learn to fear Yahweh thy Most High always. And if the way be too long for thee, so that thou art not able to carry it, or if the place be too far from thee, which Yahweh thy Most High shall choose to set his name there, when Yahweh thy Most High hath blessed thee, then thou shalt turn it into money and bind up the money in thine hand, and thou shalt go into the place which Yahweh the Most High shall choose. Notice he keeps stressing that place. It's got to be in a special place. It's Jerusalem. And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after, for oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, for strong drink, wherever thy soul desireth, and thou shalt eat there before Yahweh thy Most High, and thou shalt rejoice, thou and thy household, and the Levite that is within thy gates. Thou shalt not forsake him, for he hath no part nor inheritance with thee. At the end of 3 years thou shalt bring forth all the tithe of thine increase, the same year, and shalt lay it up within thy gates. And the Levite, because he hath no part with thee, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow, which are within thy gates, shall come and shall eat and be satisfied. And Yahweh thy Most High may bless thee in all the work of thy hand. Oh yes, it was a party, brethren. 5 days later, Feast of Tabernacles. Now that was a feast. Oh yes. And brethren, Daniel was told that the sanctuary is going to be cleansed after 2,300 years. Now, obviously, it couldn't be the earthly one because that was going to be destroyed. He was shown that. The power of the sons of Yafet out of the north, the Europeans, they were going to destroy it. The Gentiles were going to destroy it. So he's dealing with now the place that Messiah is saying, I go and prepare a place for you. New Jerusalem, which cometh down from Yah out of heaven, where Yah is, where the original Ark of the Covenant is, where his son intercedes for us. Because now the Levite is no longer the high priest. There was a change in the law, the Bible says, in Hebrews chapter 7. And Judah has become the high priest, not after the order of Aaron, but after the order of Malach, a Sadak. That is, after the order of the king of righteousness. Right up there now, Messiah is sitting beside the Father. He entered into that most holy place in 1843 because the place was ready in 1844. It was already cleansed, remember? So it was 1 day, which represents 1 year in prophetic time. So 1844, the sanctuary was cleansed. 1843 is when he went in there. You understand? And at the end of that year, 5 years later, he was supposed to be coming back. But we know there was a delay. And we know why there was a delay. Because in 1844, we're in Deuteronomy chapter 28. Deuteronomy chapter 28. Beginning at verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy Most High. See, brothers and sisters, I just got to tell you, we just read some beautiful stuff about the feast, right? And it said the Levite, the widow, the fatherless, and the stranger. See, you don't have to be a bloodline to get involved. Isn't that beautiful? And we read about it also in Isaiah 56. And we read about it also in Amos chapter 9, didn't we? We read it in all these places because the Most High intends to save his chosen, but his chosen are supposed to be witnesses to the stranger. That's why Apostle Paul, the tribe of Benjamin, brought this truth to the Gentiles of his day. Of course, after the death of all of them, there was a falling away, just like he said there would be. And we got what we got now. But that's another story we'll talk about in a little while. It shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy Most High, to observe to do his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, and the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in. Cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. Yahweh shall send upon thee cursing and vexation, rebuke, in all that thou settest thine hand to. For unto thou shalt be destroyed, until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. Yahweh shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it. Yahweh shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, with an extreme burning, with the sword, with blasting, with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. Yahweh shall make the rain of thy land powder, dust. From heaven it shall come down upon thee till thou be destroyed. Yahweh shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them. Thou shalt be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. Thy carcass shall be meat unto all the fowls of the air, unto the beasts of the earth. No man shall fray them away. Yahweh will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, with emerods, with scab, with the itch, whereof thou canst not be healed. Yahweh shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. Thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. Thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore. No man shall save thee. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and thou shalt not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given into thine enemies. Thou shalt have none to rescue them. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given into another people. Thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. There shall be no might in thine hand. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up. Thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always. So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. Yahweh shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with a sore botch that cannot be healed, from the sole of thy foot unto the top of thy head. Yahweh shall smite thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. There thou shalt serve other gods, wood and stone. Thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, a byword among all nations, whither Yahweh shall lead thee. Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, and shalt gather but little in, for the locust shall consume it. Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shalt neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worm shall eat them. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coasts, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thine olive shall cast his fruit. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. All thy trees and fruit of thy land shall the locust consume. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt be down very low. He shall lend to thee, thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy Most High, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, because thou servest not Yahweh thy Most High with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kind of flocks, of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trustest, throughout all thy land. And he shall beseech thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which Yahweh thy Most High hath given thee. And thou shalt eat of the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which Yahweh thy Most High have given thee, in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee. So that no man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, so that he will not give any of them of the flesh of his children, whom he shall eat, because he hath nothing left him in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in all thy gates. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, toward her young one that cometh out from between her knees, and toward her children, which she shall bear. For she shall eat them for one of all things secretly in the siege and straitness wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. Thou shalt not observe to do, if thou shalt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, Yahweh thy Most High, then Yahweh will make thy plagues wonderful, and thy plague of thy seed, even great plagues and of long continuance, and sore sicknesses and of long continuance. Wherefore he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law, them will Yahweh bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. And ye shall be left few in number, whereas ye were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldst not obey the voice of Yahweh thy Most High. And it shall come to pass that as Yahweh rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so Yahweh will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you into naught. And ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot rest, but Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life. In the morning thou shalt say, would Yah were evening. And at the evening thou shalt say, would Yah were morning. For the fear of thy heart wherewith thou shalt fear, for the sight of thy eyes which thou shalt see. And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. There Ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. No man shall buy. That's where we were in 1844. That's where we were. And that's why Revelation 7 is important and relevant to now. Revelation 7 this is after, of course, we have read the sixth seal, which shows the return of Messiah, but there was a delay. See, Messiah was supposed to return 1848. That's when he's supposed to return. 1848. But he didn't. He's ready. Father's ready. But they're not. Why? Well, first of all, there's one more seal left. See, the sixth seal was 1844. There's one more. And before that's opened, something else has to happen. Revelation chapter 7, beginning at verse 1. And after these things, I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending. Please remember that. Ascending from the east, having the seal of the living Most High. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our Most High in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. The Day of Atonement was only for the children of Israel and for the strangers that dwelt among them. Read Leviticus 16 for yourself and see. That's what it was for. It wasn't for Babylon or Egypt or Ireland or Rome. It's for the children of Israel and the strangers that dwelt among them. And so in 1844, when the sanctuary was ready to be cleansed, the Messiah was ready to come out of it, he couldn't. Because the angel with the seal came down and he knew there was nobody ready to be sealed among the children of Israel. They still had the chains on their neck. Well, he was getting ready to break them chains off in 1863, 1864, 1865. Ever since then, the devil has been using the sons of Yefet to try to put us back in slavery. But Yah's word will not be stopped. The 144,000 are here now. And they're being sealed. You see, brethren, there is no power that Asatan has to actually stop what Yah's going to do. Can't stop it. Just like the curse came, the blessing's going to come. And their power is broken. We just have to wake up and realize it. But don't worry, because the awakening has begun. Back to Deuteronomy for me. Deuteronomy chapter 30 now. See, 28 outlined, and we read it all in great detail, the curse, didn't we? Right? Now, watch what happens when we awaken. This is a beautiful thing, brethren. This is where we are right now. You see, we being oppressed, right? I was looking today. I was looking at a list of brothers that have been killed, unarmed brothers murdered in the streets since Barack Obama was president. You see, that's what I'm trying to tell you. It don't matter if it's a Democrat or Republican. Well, whoever occupies that office is our enemy. It doesn't matter what color they are. They all hate us. Tarika Wilson, Oscar Grant, Shem Walker, Victor Stein, Kawane Carrington, Aaron Campbell, Eugene Steve Washington, Ayanna Monet Stanley Jones, Dan Roy Henry Jr., Derek Jones, Raheem Brown Jr., Derek Williams, Kenneth Chamberlain, all of these brothers. See? Tamir Rice. Oh my gosh. That's way before George Floyd and way after hundreds of thousands of others. But don't worry, brethren. Our answer's in the book of the law. Always is. Always is. You understand? We don't put our trust in these presidents. It don't matter who it is. I'm going to tell you in a few minutes how they're going to destroy themselves. Wait, we're going to show you. The word's going to show you. Deuteronomy chapter 30. Right now, this is where we are right now, brethren. This is prophecy that was prophesied thousands of years ago, and here we live, and we the children live in Deuteronomy 30. Listen carefully. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse. We just read the curse, didn't we? Which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, with Yahweh thy most have driven thee. See, in the land of our enemies, we're going to call to mind the blessings and the curse that we received over the 2,300 years. And shall return unto Yahweh thy most high, and shall obey his voice, according to all that I command thee this day. Thou and thy children with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahweh thy most high will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations, with Yahweh thy most high have scattered thee. If any of them be driven out. You see, he knows, brothers and sisters, right? If you were to have a wooden house, right? If you had a wooden house and somebody blew it up so that it became dust and it scattered all over the place, the wind just scattered it away, right? Do you know that Yah knows every particle of dust? And if he wanted to put it back together the way it was, he could call the particles together and they would answer him. Do you know that? See, here we are. We don't even know our name. we don't even know our name. We got to name ourselves by Israel because we don't even know our name. Our history, according to our enemies, begins in the bottom of a damn slave ship. Woo! Excuse me. But this book is telling us our history. And it's telling us our future. If any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahweh thy most high gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. See, it don't matter. It don't matter how many slave masters raped our women and we come out lighter. It doesn't matter. He knows his seed, and the seed hears his voice, and they know him. Praise you. And Yahweh thy most high will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it. And he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And Yahweh thy most high will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed to love Yahweh thy most high with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And Yahweh thy most high will put all these curses. See, it ain't me. People say, well, you know, that's not nice to wish evil on your enemies. Nah, it's not me saying it. It's my God telling me. See, when my God tells me, I believe him. You understand? When he tells me and he tells you, believe him, right? He says and this is one of his promises to us. He said, and Yahweh thy most high will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Is that me talking? Or is that Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 7? Notice this, chapter 30, verse 7. It's surely going to happen. He's going to put these curses on the enemies that put us in chains, that beat us and raped us, that stole from us and exploited us and then tell us we lazy. That put crack in our neighborhoods, that created our neighborhoods and made them redlined and created private prisons, especially for us. And the darker you are, the more they hate you. The darker you are, the more they hate you, because they're scared. They don't even know what I just read here. But their spirit is telling them something's happening, something's going on. We get ready to lose our power. And they're right. And Yahweh thy most high will call these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of Yahweh and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. And Yahweh thy most high, watch this now, will make thee plenteous in every work of thy hands. See the blessing coming back, brethren. The blessing coming back. In the fruit of thy body, in the fruit of thy cattle, in the fruit of thy land for good. For Yahweh will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy most high, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in this book of the law. And if thou shalt turn unto Yahweh thy most high with all thy heart, with all thy soul. Somebody mentioned to me something in the context. I don't remember the exact question, but they mentioned, you speaking about Christians. No, I'm not speaking about Christians necessarily. Because there's a lot of Hebrews that's Christians right now. I was before I woke up. And a lot of y'all getting ready to wake up because the 144,000 message is getting ready to come. And y'all going to hear it. And some of y'all in them Christian churches going to hear it. And you're going to say, oh my goodness, this is the truth. No, I'm talking about Christianity. The institution, the religion. It is. It is the strong delusion with its white Jesus and its New Testament only. And its white supremacy and its white privilege. Yes, it is. And we got it from our slaves, from our slave masters. That's how we got it. Come on now. You trying to tell me a group of people A, goes to a land and take people B by force, right? They kidnap them, take them to their land, right? People A tells people B about a God that looks like people A. People B have no power to stand before them. And this God looks just like them. And people A keeps drilling down on them that you can only be saved by this God that looks like us. So that people B believe it and they have their own little religious gatherings and they singing and dancing to the God of people A. And you're telling me this is the truth? Really? Let me tell you something. There's but one true God. He's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He has only chosen one people. The ones that I just showed you went into slavery. The ones that are scattered abroad in all people's lands. The ones that don't even know who their name is. Those are his chosen, brethren. And there's only one God. And when we are awakening, and we are awakening to this fact, and we understand who we are, we're also beginning to understand it is our responsibility to worship our God, not white Jesus, the Hebrew Messiah of the tribe of Judah. You see, did you notice that? He's a Hebrew Messiah of the tribe of Judah. He ain't come from Rome. He ain't create no religion that's based in Rome. All right. And he told and prophesied here that we're going to come back to him. It's the nation, brethren. It's not a denomination. It's the nation. It's the nation of Israel, the true tribes, scattered. Okay? And our enemies, when they hear this truth, they have a decision to make, don't they? Whether they're going to come to the truth or not. My wife and I were having this discussion today. And she works in a certain place where she observed that the people are so willfully ignorant. Like they know their company's doing wrong. They know they have done people wrong, but they twist it and act like it didn't happen that way. And then she said, willful ignorant people, man. I said, you have to understand what willfully ignorant people are in these last days. See, if you're ignorant, you honestly didn't know. Okay? But if you're willfully ignorant, either you could have known and chose not to, or you do know and chose to act like you don't. And when you are willfully ignorant, that is self-deception. And deception, my friends, is from the enemy, the devil. So when you are willfully ignorant, you belong to him because that's his. Deception is a lie, and he's the father of lies. So when you purposely act ignorant, when you know better, he is standing up, the Bible said, and he said, oh, they belong to me, Father. They're doing my stuff. See, they're receiving my lies. They're mine. And Father can't say nothing about it. And the dangerous thing, brother, is if you're doing this, for a while, a little while, a year, whatever, that's bad. That was Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar was self-deceived for a year. And then he got spanked, right? And he came to the truth. But when you've been self-deceived for centuries, and you've blessed yourself with the fruit of your self-deception for centuries, what happens at that stage, brethren, is the deception becomes the truth. It becomes the truth. And once deception to you becomes the truth, guess what? You are sealed for death. You and your children. I'm just telling you. You say, man, you're being hard to children. Let me explain to you. My brethren, my people, we're in this situation because of this. We are the children that are in this situation because of the sins of our fathers. What you think you're going to get over? You know different? Really? We're in this situation from Deuteronomy 28 of stuff that happened 2,000 years ago. And that's why we're here now. That's why you're shooting us in the street. And you think it's not going to happen to you? No. What come around does indeed go around. And you and your children, it's your turn now. You being willfully ignorant and self-deceptive, now you're being sealed in that. And you know what, brethren? This is the thing, man. For me saying this, the people that are sealed, they're going to hate me. There's no question. They're going to hate me. They're going to see me dead. And I don't even care. I don't. Brothers, we have survived 2,300 years. If I died today, there'd be another me coming back. Or 10. You understand? I'm not worried about that. A bullet's not going to stop this message. Woo! Oh, I'm so happy because, brothers, we're here. Now, let me show you something, man. Let me show you something. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Where I want to go now. Oh, yeah. 2 Chronicles chapter 20. Okay. In 2 Chronicles chapter 20, right? There was a king. And the king, Jehoshaphat, and that's interesting because Jehoshaphat place of judgment, it's final judgment, right? And then actually in Joel chapter 3, it says that all the heathen gonna come to the valley of Jehoshaphat. Well, anyway, he was an actual king. Okay. And word came to him one day in Second Chronicles chapter 20, verse 1. And it came to pass after this also that the children of Moab and the children of Ammon, and with them other beside the Ammonites, came against Jehoshaphat to battle. They didn't name the other, but it was the Edomites. So they came to besiege Jerusalem. Okay, they came to destroy Jerusalem. And when they came to do stuff like that at that time, they would kill everybody in there. Okay, kill all the males, the children that were males, the babies, the women that were pregnant, and keep the little girls and raise them up and rape them and keep them. That's what they did in that time. So when they came, that's what they was coming for. Okay, three nations coming against Jerusalem. Okay. Now, verse 3. And Jehoshaphat feared and set himself to seek Yahweh and proclaim the fast. So he proclaimed the fast for all Judah. So they fasted. Okay. And as they fasted, Jehoshaphat set to praying. Okay. And then at the end of his prayer, this is what he said. Verse 12. O Yah, O our Most High, wilt thou not judge them? For we have no might against this great company that cometh against us. Neither know we what to do, but our eyes are upon thee. And all Judah stood before Yahweh with their little ones, their wives, and their children. See, they had no protection but Yah. They didn't have enough army to fight against the three nations that was coming against them. They knew it. So they were calling on the Most High. And they put their children and their wives out there, and they prayed because they were going to be sacrificed. Then the Father's Spirit came down on one of the brethren, came down on him. And he stood up in the midst of the congregation of the saints. That's what he said. Then upon Yahaziel, the son of Zechariah, the son of Benaiah, the son of Yaal, the son of Mattaniah, a Levite of the sons of Asaph, came the Spirit of Yahweh in the midst of the congregation. See, it's always by the Father's Spirit, brethren. And he said, hearken ye all Judah and ye inhabitants of Jerusalem, and thou King Jehoshaphat, thus saith Yahweh unto you, be not afraid nor dismayed by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but yours. See, brothers and sisters, we get ready to deal with this. When this mark of the beast stuff come, we're not going to have might to stand before these people with these tanks and these guns and such. You know how they like their guns, right? And these bombs and these prisons and these different types of handcuffs and all kind of heat-seeking devices and all type of surveillance. We ain't got no might to stand before that. But let us remember, the battle is not ours. It's Yahweh's. Notice what the counsel was given to them by the Spirit. Verse 16. Tomorrow go ye down against them. Behold, they come up by the cliff of Ziz. Ye shall not need them. Ye shall find them at the end of the brook before the wilderness of Jeruel. Ye shall not need to fight in this battle. Set yourselves, stand ye still and see the salvation of Yahweh with you, O Judah and Jerusalem. Fear not, nor be dismayed. Tomorrow go ye out against them, for Yahweh will be with you. And they just gave praise. They just gave praise to the Most High. They did exactly as they were told. They went out there, right? And notice what happened. In verse 22, and when they began to sing and to praise, Yahweh set ambushments against the children of Ammon and Moab and Mount Seir, which were come against Judah, and they were smitten. For the children of Ammon and Moab stood up against the inhabitants of Mount Seir, utterly to slay and to destroy them. And when they had made an end of the inhabitants of Seir, everyone helped to destroy another. And when Judah came toward the watchtower in the wilderness, they looked, and the multitude, and behold, they were all dead bodies fallen to the earth, and none escaped. And when Jehoshaphat and the people came to take away the spoil of them, they found among them abundance, both riches and dead bodies and precious jewels, which they stripped off for themselves, more than they could carry away. And they were 3 days in gathering the spoil. It was so much. So the enemies came against them, end up destroying each other. Let me tell you something, brother. Honest truth. If it wasn't for them angels we read about in Revelation chapter 7, holding back them 4 winds, these people would have destroyed themselves a long time ago. Oh, yeah. See, they hate each other. Why do you think Daniel saw iron and clay? They hate each other. They really do. We're going to read more about that in Daniel 11. They hate each other. The only time they come together is when they're coming to destroy us. They come together for that. See, the three, they came together for that. But even then, Revelation chapter 17. What? Revelation chapter 17. Revelation chapter 17. See? Revelation 17. Watch what happened. Verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb. That's representing us. We're representing the Lamb because he's not on the earth. When they come to make war with him, they're making war against 144,000 and all the people that's with them, right? And the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Now, watch this now. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For Yah hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of Yah shall be fulfilled. See, when the 3 unclean spirits gather them together to try to kill us, and they see the Messiah come with the power and glory in which he's going to come, and Father say it's done, right? They're going to be killing each other as much as we killing them. And this is, again, them coming to fight us. It's not us going out. See, we're not going out to go fight them. They're coming to Judah, where the New Jerusalem is going to sit, and they're going to try to fight us. And when they do that, they're going to destroy each other and be destroyed. Because that's what they would do anyway. That's why I ain't worry about Biden. And I worry about Trump. It don't matter. The whole game is going to be destroyed very shortly, brother. The whole game. All right? It's going to be destroyed very shortly. You understand? What we need to be concerned with is not them. We need to be concerned with us. With our God, Father Spirit. By that Spirit. With the awakening that we just read about in Deuteronomy chapter 3. See, the end of the 2300 days is done. It's done. You say, well, it's been 174 years. No, it's been 176 years. Let me ask you a question, man. Seriously, you think 176 years is a long time to Yah? You think that's a long time to him? I mean, if Daniel was told 176 years instead of 2,300, I'm sure he would have taken that. You understand? I'm sure he would have taken that. You know what I'm saying? So here we are in the last 7 years. The last 7. Here we are. Brethren, I want to tell you again, you and I cannot control who our parents are. We can't control what we look like when we're born. We can't control what country we're born into. Okay, we can't. But we can control the choice we make to be true to what is true, to not be willfully ignorant. We can control that. We can control our choice to serve truth. We can control that. No matter where we're born. No matter what country we're born in. Okay. This is truth right here. You can receive it and you can reject it. See, to me, I mean, I'm just doing this because I'm blessed, man. I tell you what, I've been married to the same Boricua for 36 years, right? If it wasn't for the Most High, I'd probably been married 5 or 6 times already. But I've been married to the same woman for 36 years. That's him. It's not me. I might be dead or in jail. I might be a swindler. You know, I could have been anything, but I wouldn't have been sitting here talking to you. So I'm doing this because the one that saved me, the one that redeemed my soul, told me to. Whether you receive it or not is not my concern. And I'm not arguing with you about this. I'm just not. Because there's not any time for that. The 2300 days is over. 1844 is past. Father is ready. Somebody might ask, well, you know, if he was ready, right, why did he go through the problem of sending the angel with a seal if he knew, you know, there was not going to be somebody down here to see him, right? Well, okay, that's a good question. Why would he go through all of that theater, right, of sending the angel down here with a seal when he knew his people were still in chains? Why did he do that? Why did he go through all that there? Why did he make the delay? This is why. He wants us to see very plainly and very clearly. There is nothing stopping him. Like he's ready. Like he's been ready. Like he wants this to come to an end now. He just wants to rise up his 144,000 for his glory. And he wants us to understand the emphasis that is being placed on that. That's all. That's the point. He wants us to understand the emphasis that is being placed on that. Okay? It's for his glory. So he'll deal with this 176 years plus 7. You're going to deal with that. And this thing's getting ready to end. This is getting ready to come off. Okay? At the end of that last Jubilee, it's not, if it's not before that, it's going to be soon after that. This thing is over. Over. Okay? And so now he's trying to tell us to be ready. So now we understand. Let's go over this one more time. And all that we've been talking about, right? So 2,300 years ended in 1844. Messiah was finished in 1844. He still has one more seal to unseal off his book, right? That's the seventh seal, the seventh church, right? Seventh trumpet. And he went in there in 1843. Now, the 1843 part is important. When we get to Daniel 12, you'll understand why. But the 1843 part is real important because you have to understand that's when he entered into that part, right? He finished in 1844. But you'll see when we get to Daniel chapter 12 why that's important. Because it gives us some waymarks, some signs. Okay, we're in what the Bible calls the time of the end. That's where we are right now. We're in the time of the end. We are the inhabitants. We are the children of the time of the end. And like I said, I was telling you, you can't control who you're born into, what nation you're born, what color you are, what you look like. You know, you can't control that, you know. And you can't control your choice of the truth. But one thing for sure, before the earth was even founded, before the earth was spoken into existence by the Father, he already knew the people that were going to be born. Now, it's no accident that you're born at this time. You're going to play a role in these last movements. What role you play, I don't know. But every person is going to play a role in these most important movements of the final days of the kingdom of Asatan and of the children of Yafet. We are going to witness the destruction of this kingdom. And there are people that are going to be fighting for its salvation. And there are going to be people that are going to be fighting for Yah. And everybody that's alive, most of the people that are alive on the earth right now, if they're not destroyed by the coming viruses and all that stuff that's coming, most of the billions of people on the earth are going to be alive when these things take place. Okay? That's where we are right now. That's stupendous. That's serious. Okay? Right? And so Father's Spirit is moving on his people. He's awakening us right now. That's the sign. The sign is not what the Pope does. The sign is not what the UN does. The sign is the 144,000. And the sign, see, even though from the distance, you know, when you remember when the guards came to the Garden of Gethsemane to arrest Messiah, Remember that? They came to the Garden of Gethsemane to arrest the Messiah, right? Judas was leading them. And Judas said, I'm going to give you a sign as to which one it is. I'm going to kiss the one that it is so you know that that's him. Why did they have to do that? Because you know what? They just look like a bunch of Negroes. They look like 12 Negroes, 11 of them with the Messiah. And he couldn't tell them apart. They all looked alike. Right? So he said, I'm going to kiss one of them and you're going to know that's the one it is. Right? He went, oh, hail, master, and he kissed him. That's why they knew it was him. Right? Because they all looked alike. Well, just now, all of the brothers that are alive right now, the 144,000 and the Israelites, we all look alike. You know, light skin, some of us dark, some of us brown. But we all Negroes, right? The Most High knows which one it is. And there's going to be Judases among us that's going to point us out to the Gentiles. Only this time, they're not going to win. And we've all been born into this age for such a time as this. You've all been born for this. All of us. Okay? So, you have to decide. You know, I have decided I want the Father's righteousness. I want it for me, my body equal wife, my children, my family, my brethren. I want the Father's righteousness to seal us. I've decided that. And I don't care about anything else. You have to make that decision for yourself. I hope you do, though. I hope you do, because once the seventh seal is open, it's too late. And there'll be no more mercy. Not from me, but more importantly, not from the Father. Yeah. So, may the Most High guide you to seek his face, the Creator, in truth, who we call Yah. Seek him in truth. Don't be willfully ignorant. I'm going to tell you the truth is going to be uncomfortable, but the Most High has promised to guide you through. And he will bless your way. And it's better to bleed, to have troubles on this earth and be blessed by Yah, that your path be with light and truth. And you be led to the tree of life with him and stand on the sea of glass with him and the 144,000. That's better than anything we could deal with or lose on this planet. Paul said, I count it all but dung that I might win Messiah and be found in him. Praise the Most High. May you be found in Messiah, who represents the Father to us. May you be found in the Messiah's faith, which is the righteousness of the Father. May he bless your way. May he guide your steps while there's still time, that you be one of those with his seal in your foreheads. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.